And how was Fikayo prepared for those retain release moments? Did you have a feeling of what the answer would be going into those letters or conversations, or was there a time where you were worried he might not get a contract for the future?
I don't think I was really worried. You know? I think I'll take you back to what I said about not thinking much about it till it was 16.
Mm.
To be honest, and we always told him about it, that you know what, you are born to succeed whatever you do. It was something, I think his mom and I just inculcated him, that is just who you are. And I think we tell our kids that all the time, that once you apply yourself, it is not a case of a choice. You will succeed, because everything about you that we have, who you're born into, the family you're born into, the people that support you, your faith, everything about you is like, you are going to succeed. So even if it isn't football, if you decide to be a plumber, you're going to be a very successful one. So again, I think those things were at the back of our minds at all times. And because again, we weren't people who were thinking, oh, he will be a Premiership player and earn X thousand pounds a week. No, it was more like, let's just see how it goes. I think very early in the process, we made him realize again that if football didn't work, not a problem. So that, I think that pressure was off him. He probably had more pressure on himself for that one, to say that, I want to enjoy this. I want to get this. My parents will support me, whatever I do on this one, but thank God they're not putting pressure on me to say that, you know what, they're counting on you to do this. So I think that helped. And so, but everything yields to diligence. For over time, I thought, what is a short thing that I could share with him that would get the message across? And then, gosh, maybe like 15 years ago, I came across this saying by a Greek philosopher called Antiphanes. And he said, everything yields to diligence. The part of the Bible I shared with Fikayo over and over from a very early age, it's Proverbs 29:12 or something, I think that it is. And it says, see a man diligent in his ways, he shall stand before kings, he shall not stand before mere men. That was what I told him over and over. And then I came across this Antiphanes saying, and I thought, wow, that long sentence can be covered in everything yields to diligence. And that is what we've stuck with since. And not just for Fikayo, but every young person I meet. I think in my heart, I believe that one of the things I'm called to do is to help young people. So when I meet a young person, I always kind of think, what can I live with them that will be easy? And so my mantra now is everything yields to diligence. So if I meet a young person and I'm asking about it, I'll just leave that with you. Just, it's not going to take you forever to forget that. It's going to be everything yields to diligence. And that's how we came up with that one.
Well, it brings in, to move from a Greek philosopher to Jamie Carragher, which is quite a segue. But Jamie, we had on, he's been a football parent. His son now plays for Wigan Athletic. And on one of our previous podcasts, he talked about not building it up too much.
What I would say is it is a huge sacrifice, and I know that myself through taking my son to training 4 times a week. You've got to get them from school, you've got to feed them quickly, you've then got to get them on the road, you've got to get changed. And then they've got to go and perform in a training session against, 15, 20 other lads. And every time they train, they're on show, aren't they? They're sort of getting judged by a coach. And every 12 months, they're going to be, whether they're kept on or not. So it is a huge sacrifice from parents. It really is, as I say, because I've got experience of that myself. What I would say to parents is, don't stop your player being a player, or your son being a player. Because I know myself, parents have stopped players going on, because it gets to a stage, if a parent's a problem, where he's permanently questioning the coach, he's permanently wanting meetings with the coach, questioning why his son isn't playing, it'll get to a stage where, is the player worth the hassle? They will be having these conversations in coaches' rooms. The dads or the mum's a nightmare, but the player's great. We've got to put up with it. We've got to manage it. At some stage, it will become where your son is borderline. with someone else and he'll say, you know what, this takes up too much of our time, it's too much hassle. This fellow who's in the same position, there's nothing between them as players, will work with this lad a lot more. It'll be a lot easier journey. And I do think a lot of, I see it in my own sons' groups with parents. We have parents' night once a year where you go and you speak to the coach. Because I've got experience in football, I know what the coach wants from me in that. I'm Jamie Carragher. I've obviously got opinions on football. I've never, ever, when I spoke to the coach about my son, ever, not once in 10 years, there's nothing to speak about. No one's got a vendetta against my son. No one in an academy's got a vendetta against any kid. He picks someone else because he thinks they're better than him. That is the end, the top and bottom of it. That is the end of it. And as I said, I'm in these meetings for 5 minutes. All I want to know is he happy with my son? What does he need to improve? Is he here next year? Yeah, it's over in 3 minutes. But the guy before me might be in there for 20 minutes and I'm scratching my head what he's talking about. I really don't get it. And that's what I would say. Don't build it up too much. Actually think what your son's doing right now is amazing. How many kids wants to be in an academy? You know, he's meeting mates, he's keeping fit, he's keeping off the street, he's not on his computer. Look at it that way rather than thinking he's going to play for the first team. I never once thought my son would play for Liverpool's first team when he was at Liverpool at 9 or 10. The way I looked at it was, it's like going to a private school for free. Rather than coaching or playing in the park, you go to Liverpool's academy, you get the best coaching, and if he's there till he's 18, what an education he's at, and then he'll go wherever he goes. Forget playing for Liverpool, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen for one every 3 or 4 years. It happened to me and Stevie. It's now Trent. What are we talking about? 3 players in 10 years? I don't know. So I'd always look at it as a private education that you have at school. You've got a football club, you get to 18, and then you're in the best possible place to then go and play for X, Y, or Z. And that's the best way of looking. That's the way I've always looked at playing at an academy.
Yeah, I think it's important to say I had one part that was a bit tough on him, and I'd say to him, I'd say, your mom and I, the money we're working for and setting aside does not include you or your sister in our pension. So we are not going to be spending any of our pension on you. So you had better make your own way to take care of your own family. That was, I reminded him that all the time. It doesn't include you. So even if football does not work, you must make sure you've got something that would help you feed your family and take care of you, because you're not part of my pension. And I remember someone saying to, a few friends would then say to us now, and say, oh, Yinka, why are you still working and all that? You know, you got a son who will take care of you in old age. And I remind them of something. I said, you know what? I said, as a father, I told my son that he's not part of my pension plan. I said, how do you think it would sound to him if I say to him, but I am part of your own pension plan? And you know, that answer used to hit people. They go, woof. I said, yeah. I said, when you, as a parent, you've got to be consistent. You mustn't just chop and change. If you say to your son, he's not part of your pension plan, then you are not part of his as well. But, you know, I thank God for my son. I think we are very blessed to have each other. Because when you see a young man who listens as you take that journey, it's like, you know, not very many people are privileged like that. We meet parents who they've raised their children reasonably well, but it gets to a point the child decides, I want to do my own thing. But when you have a son who still says, I want to listen to you, it's great.